months. Seen that y'all made up a story when they asked about where y'all from. I'm still drawing down them 40s, bitch, that's all day, all day, all day. Fuck boy, I got more than they asked for. Russian shows with my mask on. Fucking hoes with my mask on. I got a buy the tape and I got a compilation.
Hello, and welcome to episode 3 of Big Treble in Little China. We're back. I'm John Lucero. I'm joined by Brittany Beshel.
What's up, party people?
We skipped a week. You know, we put a lot of work in those first 2 episodes and just had to take a break. That's totally what happened. You know, it wasn't just conflict of scheduling.
It's not that, and it's definitely not the lack of releases so far this year.
Yeah, but actually, giving us an extra week actually gave me a lot more stuff to talk about because this last week I was actually had a few things to listen to, which I appreciated, at least on my end. But before we get into some more recent stuff, let's go over some homework, Brittany. Yeah, I assigned you the album Flower Boy by Tyler, the Creator. What did you think?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, obviously going into this, you knew how I felt about Tyler.
Yes,
definitely
I do.
not the biggest fan. But then you suggested that we use one of his songs from this album, See You Again, in our intro or outro for the first episode. And I listened to it, and I actually was really surprised because I liked it immediately. The only thing I was worried about going into listening to the whole album, I was like, what if I already listened to the best song? Unfortunately, that was the case.
I mean, it is my favorite song of the album. So
yeah, I mean, that's not to say that I hated the rest of it. There's definitely a whole lot that I disliked. Like, for example, that Droppin' Seeds with freaking Lil Wayne, who I just absolutely cannot stand. I can't deal with the really whiny auto-tune vocals and all that. And then there was a lot of stuff that was just very close to the R&B territory, which is a genre that I'm just not really into. Like Garden Shed, for example. The first half of the song just felt like it could have been any other R&B song that I've ever heard in my life, and I wouldn't know it from, like, I wouldn't be able to distinguish it from anything else. And I wasn't crazy about the female vocalist either. There's just a lot of really weird moments in this. Like in Who Dat Boy, the synths are just the weirdest thing.
Oh, I love Who Dat Boy.
Really?
Oh my god. That song's fucking goes. I love A$AP Rocky's part on that. I love the horror kind of sound they have on the beat. Oh. Yeah.
I mean, as far as other ones go, that I actually did like, I liked I Ain't Got Time a lot.
That song's just fun.
Yeah, it's a good fun song. And then I also liked 911 / Mr. Lonely.
Probably my second favorite song on the album. That one. I like that one a lot.
Yeah. I mean, but like I said, even though a lot of the music that was on this album wasn't necessarily my thing, I'm not saying that I just fucking hated it. I mean, there's some songs I definitely will not ever listen to by choice again. But there's still some tracks that I came out of from this liking, and I'm definitely open to listening to his stuff in the future now, because I absolutely was not in the past. I think just based on how he is as a person, I wouldn't even bother giving his music a chance. But it's fine. So you managed to change my mind slightly.
This album's interesting because it's like Tyler does pretty much all the production by himself. Like he produces everything pretty much himself, and I love the production on this album. Like love it. You know, it's like not your cup of tea, but it's like. Mm-hmm. I love the layering of the songs, the little vocal interludes and everything to add depth to like the lyrics, which are very introspective, and like it takes a few listens to even catch everything he's saying in a lot of the songs, because it's a very sad album too.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, lyrically, it's actually a very, very good album. But if I don't have like good production and good instrumentals to go with that, I'm not really going to be as compelled to listen to a song for the lyrics. Even though a lot of the time I will listen to a song the first time and then go back again and listen to it and actually pay attention to the words. And I'm like, damn, I can relate to this. And then I end up liking it because of that.
Yeah. I'm pretty similar. So
there's just a different process to loving almost every song for me. You know, it's either I get caught by a hook, or it's got a really nice drop in the song, or, you know, I love a song that has a really good build up to it. It's everything is so different. And that's, again, just what I love about music. But But yeah, I mean, I could totally see me maybe going back to this in the future and just maybe paying attention to the lyrics a little bit more and then liking at least 2 or 3 more songs off of this. But, like I said, it's just a lot of it, because, I'm a lot more pop-based, upbeat and stuff like that. And just a lot of it seemed very R&B skewed.
It's very soul. Like it's got a lot of soul in it. Yeah, and I love that sound. I actually did not expect that to be the thing you didn't like about the album. So it's
it is though, because just a quick example, someone who I actually love and have been listening to for years is Kelly Clarkson, and her most recent album was just kind of her branching out into a more soulful path.
Okay.
I really didn't like that album, aside from maybe like 2 or 3 songs, and they were the ones that were more poppy than anything. It's just, I don't know. I guess this is just part of the podcast, is just kind of, like you said, broadening our horizons and opening our mind to different genres that we normally wouldn't even give the time of day before. So
yeah. And for anyone that's curious about the album, it's very, like I said, it's very introspective. I relate to a lot of things he's talking about in the album, even though some of them is just like, a rich guy having rich person problems, but he's not. It doesn't come across as him like whining. He just seems kind of lost, and I can relate to that. And then, except as like parts I can't, like he's also possibly coming out on this album. Like there's some pretty blatant lyrics that even like Garden Shed is basically the song people point to. It's him coming out of the garden shed. That's what the song is. But yeah. So he's just very honest, and I really appreciated that. It also was the fact that I've kind of grown up with Tyler. Like we're basically the same age. I think he's like your age, Brittany. We're like, so it's just kind of cool to see him go from like Bastard and Goblin, which is some horrorcore ass, teenager fucking I don't give a shit about anyone music.
What was the year of his first release though? Because I didn't realize he had been around for that long.
2010, 11ish. I want to say Goblin came out in 2011, and Bastard was before that as an EP, so probably 2010. Something around. It's around that time. So yeah, and like just seeing him mature like at a similar rate as I have is kind of cool. And it was an unexpected album. I did not go in. As soon as I started hearing it, I'm like, what the fuck is this? Because I didn't expect the soul, like that much soul in the album. So, but yeah. So anyone that likes some lyrical soulful shit, I'd give this album a try. Yeah. All right. For me, Brittany gave me Alter by Banks. And on the first listen, I was like, okay, this is like I was jamming to it. I was like, all right, this is pretty interesting. I like some of the production on it. There's the song "Fuck With Myself" had a cool little like layering of the vocals as she the back of her mind talking to her the entire time. Trainwreck had a cool like soundscape it created. At least to me, it sounded like sirens in like police cars and like a crowd kind of at a train wreck from the sounds they created in it. That gave me that vibe. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then Judas was a pretty cool song. But as I listened to it more, I just came to feel like it's kind of an empty album to me. And I think the problem is Banks herself. I don't think I don't believe her when she's singing. I don't like.
What exactly do you mean by that?
It just seems hollow. Like it just seems like there's no passion in her voice when she's singing. Like there's no, and you could put any pop singer in that spot and on those beats and with those lyrics.
I mean, you're absolutely right. Banks is not one of those artists that I've ever listened to because of her voice. Not at all. I mean, and I think I may have mentioned this before, that she obviously doesn't have the best voice if she feels the need to lip sync at her shows, but that's an entirely different issue. Yeah, I've just always loved her music just because of the production and the fun beats and the hooks and stuff like that. And then this album in particular, the reason why I had recommended it was because it was kind of important to me at the time that it came out. It was one of those things where Yeah, it's going to be that typical thing where a lot of the songs are written about love and relationships and all that shit. But this just seemed a lot more empowering in a way.
Sure.
I mean, especially Fuck With Myself, obviously. Stuff like that. And I mean, one of my absolute favorite songs is Weaker Girl, you know, saying that I'm going to need a bad motherfucker like me. I mean, come on. That was where the album definitely peaked for me. I don't know how you felt about that one. I fucking love that song so much.
Yeah,
it's goofy in a way, you know?
Yeah, I did like Weaker Girl somewhat, but it's just, just like there's no connection there for me when I'm listening to it. It's just, and I did like the production. It was generally pretty good, spacey in a way that I kind of liked. But yeah, I don't like her. I think that's just it. I don't like her.
You know what? I can totally understand and accept that. So that makes sense. I mean, now it just kind of makes me wish that she was just ghostwriting for people, you know? Like, I feel like if she could get an actual, I hate saying this, I don't want to say she's not an actual vocalist, but if she could get an actual vocalist to sing the songs that she's writing, I feel like she would probably have a much greater popularity too. Because I don't know if the issue that you have with her is maybe why she's not as big as she could be.
Yeah, and she doesn't stand out to me. I think that's the problem is why she hasn't become bigger than she is. So yeah, I don't think it was a bad album. It's just did not resonate with me whatsoever. So,
all right, that makes sense.
Yeah. Gave it a shot, you know. But I think it's time to move on to some track by track, Brittany. And we only have one album we're going to talk about this week on track by track.
And you know what? It's a good one to spend some time on, so I'm not upset about it.
Yeah, I want to talk about this album for like 2 weeks now. So
yep.
Yeah.
the past couple weeks has just consisted of the two of us kind of having conversation over text or whatever, just kind of saying things about this album and how good it is, but not wanting to say too much because we wanted to save it for this.
Yeah, so like very vaguely just hinting at things we liked about it. So let's go. The album is Little Dark Age by MGMT. They are back with the first album since 2013, I believe. They had a self-titled album in 2013. My history with MGMT is that I like Kids. It's a fun song, and that's about it. That's as far as I go with like them as a group. I've never really dug into their music whatsoever.
I cannot offhand think of any of their previous music, so that tells you my history with them pretty quickly.
Yeah, I know you would recognize Kid. I don't know if you just don't.
I probably would, but just by the name of it, I wouldn't get it. I mean, when you first said something about listening to this album, I was thinking of that one song, Midnight City or something, which is actually by M83, or maybe it's the opposite. I don't remember if it's. You get what I'm saying? Like all the songs just kind of at that time blended together for me, so I just wrote off all of those artists and everything at the time because I was like, this all sounds exactly the same. So I just didn't even pay attention to it. Yeah, because honestly, if it weren't for doing this, I probably wouldn't have even listened to this album, which is tragic.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have either. And like, we both went into this pretty cold, you know, like little to no expectation. And I'm just gonna spoil it, guys. We really like this album, so let's get into this with track number 1. She Works Out Too Much, which is a very interesting way to start an album. I would say it's probably this. I don't know. It's one of the stranger songs of the album in terms of just like the way it's structured.
But that does not make it. That does not make it bad.
No. It's a very fun song. Like it's like the title gives it away. Like the title it creates like a fun play on the idea of a relationship not working over over one thing that just kind of she works out too much and he doesn't work out, so you know it's not gonna work. It's just like, and that's like the basis of the song, and you can add more depth to it, being like that's just one example of things, or you can just say the song is literally just about that. So
I mean, that's the thing is it's up to interpretation. Are they literally talking about exercising, or are they just talking about working out issues in the relationship? Which I just thought it's goofy, and I just thought that it was such a good start to like the weird trip that is listening to this album.
Yeah, it's because they also layer in like almost a workout tape too, like going on in the background with this girl talking,
which was so weird, but I loved it.
Yeah, I remember when we talked about doing this album, I played this song first just to get it, and I literally go, "What the fuck is this?" as it started going. I was like, and so yeah, it's an interesting start, and it's gonna grab your attention, and I really think it gives a good idea of what this album's about. Even though like all the songs are very different, there's a lot of variety. It's still like that. It's all very synth pop, very goth synth pop, I would say. Like there's
God, see, I wasn't getting any kind of goth vibes from it. I was just like, this is some good 80s stuff, you know?
See, like it's like it's a lot of the lyrics and kind of like there's some dark little bit of somber darkness in the production, even though it's all really upbeat too. It's like I got a lot of that's like a hint of goth in it throughout, and I really like that. So it was, but yeah, moving on to the next song, Little Dark Age, which is the title track, which is my favorite song on the album. Actually, it is and this is probably this is where I get the most goth feelings is from this song. Because this song is a very upbeat song about dealing with a period of depression in your life, and having and nothing you do being able to bring you out of it. Even going, like, they're talking about performing on stage, not even working for it. Like, that's like the one time they can kind of escape, but they just go back to their little dark age. But
yeah. I mean, that's something that I feel like is very relatable in a way. I mean, obviously not being a performer, not 100% relatable, but I get it where, you get to go out and do something that you love and it's a nice distraction for a short amount of time. But then, it's always kind of looming over you that you have to go back to normal afterwards. So that was kind of what the song was saying to me in a way.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's like, I call it the world's saddest dance song, because it's like you want to get down to it, but if you did really like let yourself like into the lyrics of the song, it's kind of a bummer. And also some of the like the production on it, some of the synth stuff and stuff like that reminded me a lot of old Castlevania games. And I really like that. And if Jason, you listen to this, I think you should give the song a shot. At least there is a little interlude in the middle. It's like a keyboard solo. I swear to God, would go perfect in a Castlevania game, and it's really good. Also, this song is just, also the last one too, is a perfect example of how fucking perfect the hooks and choruses are in this album. They are so goddamn catchy.
Yeah.
Like every single song, it's immediately catchy every time, and I love this song. I love this song. It's my favorite song I've heard this year. So
wow. I mean, I don't know why I'm saying wow. There's not really a whole lot to compare it to just yet, but we'll see how it fares when more stuff starts coming out. It's not my favorite song on the album, but it's definitely one of them. One of several. So
yeah, it is still hard to pick, even though I know it's my favorite. There are a few that give it a run for its money.
I mean, I definitely do have one that I know for a fact that is my favorite. It's just not this song. It would actually be the next one, When You Die. I know that seemed like a weird choice.
I had a guess of what your favorite song would be. This was my second guess, so I was almost there. But go ahead, Brittany. Talk about When You Die.
I'm just obsessed with this song, like the absolutely bonkers synths, the weird lyrics. It's such a strange mix, but it all works so well. And I just find myself like constantly, just the past like week at least, just thinking, go fuck yourself,
it's so good. Like it just comes out of nowhere in the song too. It's so good.
Like the first time I heard it and he said that, I was like, wait, what? And then he goes, you heard me right. And I was like, oh my God. Like, that hit me. I think that's why. It's just one of those songs, first listen, absolutely loved it. And that's why, I mean, not to say that I didn't like the other songs. I still liked them a lot, but this was the one that just really was like, yes, this is such a good album. So,
yeah, that goes, and he goes, you heard me right. I said it twice, like so good. I said it twice. Like I said it twice. Like so, it's like it's so good. I said it twice. I was like, oh fuck yeah! And I was like, oh man, it is just a really fun, fucked up song about wishing someone you hated was dead.
I know. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's so catchy. Oh my God.
I mean, so I would definitely say that this is probably my favorite song of the year so far.
It's really good. It's probably my second or third favorite song on the album. So it's next up we got Me and Michael, which is just a song about two best friends just just like loving being around each other and how everything's perfect when they're together.
There's literally nothing wrong with this song. Like, it's the kind of 80s type throwback that I definitely love. There's something like very dreamy about like the synths and everything. It's just a nice, cute little song, and I like this one a lot too. Yeah, it just puts you in a good mood. It's exactly. Yeah. And I feel like there's not enough songs written about friendship. So anytime that there is one, like, I appreciate it so much more. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah. No, I totally get it. And I've listened to the album I don't know how many times. And this song, like, I feel like it's totally genuine. Like, I don't feel like there's any like hidden meaning or anything behind it. It's just, he loves his best friend. So Michael sounds like a great dude. Good job, Michael. Michael sounds great. Next up we got T-Slamp, or Time Spent Looking at My Phone. Wait, what? Why did I not realize that was... okay, never mind. Go ahead. That's the hook of the song. What do you mean you didn't realize it? I don't know, man. It's because I kept looking at the title of the song and I'm like, how do you pronounce that? You're like, why is the song called To Slamp? I don't get it. Exactly. That's what I was looking at it like. I'm so sorry. I mean, needless to say, though, I still fucking love this song, even though I'm an idiot and didn't know what it meant. My first note is synth is so good. I was just thinking about how that guitar solo that's in there was so unexpected, but it was really, really great. Like, I'm so glad that they put that in there. Yeah, and this whole song is about how people just get absorbed in their phone, and I feel like it really gives that, like, the way they structure the instrumentation on top of the vocals really gives that sense of just like being frustrated with yourself but not being able to give up the fact that you're just staring at your phone all the time. Yeah. And then they like layer in, like, they raise the pitch on the chorus and like layer in like an echo kind of thing to make it seem like a lot of people singing. Like, it's just it gives it like this like global problem and kind of like a cult thing too, of just these people singing Time Spent Looking at My Phone at you. And it's just, it's a little discomforting in a way, or so. But it's definitely true. So I mean, now I understand. Yeah. It's some of the unexpected song. Every song in this album is like the next one's like, what is this? Every time. It's because it's just they have like the same sound, but they just are able to vary it in so many ways across the album, and it's so cool. Yeah, because they didn't end up just doing a bunch of songs that are about the same exact thing either. They all have pretty different topics, Yeah. We got James up next, which vocally is the most distinct track on probably the entire album. Yeah, but you know what I'm going to have to say? Not necessarily in the best way. I really like the instrumentals on this because they're just really cool and chill, and it's just it's nice to listen to. But every single time that James comes in, I hate it. I don't know why it annoys me so badly, but I hate the vocals in this song. Yeah. Well, as soon as I get past the initial James, I like the rest of it. It's the first one's a little abrasive, but like they have a very repetitive drum and like bass line in the song that just works. It's just like you just nod your head to it the entire time as this guy's singing James over and over again. It's I wouldn't say it's my least favorite song on the album. It's towards the bottom, but same. It's totally well-made song. It's just different, and you're either gonna be into it or not, I think. So after that, we have Days That Got Away, which is the only instrumental on the album, and it's probably my least favorite song. I don't like to count it as my least favorite song because it's an instrumental, and I generally don't like instrumentals that much anyway. Yeah, so. Neither do I. And I hate to bash a song just because of that, because it's literally just a matter of taste. It has nothing to do with whether the song's good or not, because it definitely is. But the entire time I was thinking, because there's no vocals and it's just instrumental, it seems way too long, and it feels like something that should just be in the background of like a movie or a video game or something, not something that I consciously want to sit and listen to. But again, not that it's a bad song, it's just not something I want to, like, when I want to sit down and listen to music, I'm not going to put this on,
Yeah, I think it's almost 5 minutes long, or just over 5 minutes long. It's around 5 minutes, which is too long. I will say, and again, it's a good instrumentation. Like it sounds good. It's just it's not good enough to be that long. And honestly, I don't know if I'd ever like an instrumental that just an instrumental that's long. That's that long. I will say that I think it's very mellow too, and I think that actually helps with the energy of the next track quite a bit, because which is One Thing Left to Try, which I dare a motherfucker not to dance to this fucking song. Oh my god, this song this is some whip your hair around 80s bullshit, and I love it. It's so it is like, and the female vocalist is just having a blast with this fucking song the entire time, and like this is like screaming "I don't want to die." This song is just a good fucking time. It's probably my second favorite song. Is this or When You Die? I really like this song. It's
it's one of those things that for some reason every single time I listen to it, I think that it just sounds like something that I would listen to in GTA Vice City. Like I could just see myself driving around this little Tommy Vercetti listening to this song. Like that would be awesome. Somebody find a way to input this song into that game, and I'm playing it again. Yeah,
I've been when I'm cooking this last couple weeks, I've been listening to this album a lot when I'm cooking, and this song just like, oh my god, it's just I can get down to the song any day of the week. It's so good. I'll see it like this. It's like an 80s montage song. Like I could see this being in any montage of a movie, and it would just work. It's a good fucking time. After that, When You're Small, I get I get a John Lennon vibe from this song, I would say. Like some of his more solo stuff. It's probably my least favorite song on the album, but it's catchy, it's good. It's just the most skippable song to me other than the instrumental.
I don't know, because the thing is, I do like this song. It's just, again, the very droning vocals that just kind of bring it down. And I get it. It's a stylistic choice, and it's just not necessarily my thing. The thing is, I love this album so much, I hate even saying that I dislike any of the songs, but obviously you have to have favorites and then some that you should just kind of do without. It's very rare to find an album that you do like from start to finish with no issues. But yeah, this definitely is one of my least favorites just because of the vocals alone. Still not my least favorite for sure.
Yeah, it's again stylistic choices. Some of these are probably going to click with certain people, but it doesn't quite click with me. Still a good song, and the last track on here, it's a tight 10-track album. Hand It Over, which I find lyrically to be a very fitting end to the album. Sonically, I don't know if I agree as much, but like the idea of like, trying to hold on to like last bit of relevancy, but also trying to decide if maybe it's just time to hang it up is honestly, if this was like the last song, like if the lyrics for the song were just like the last song of their career, it'd be a pretty fitting way to end a career, I think.
I would hate that though, because now that I'm actually a fan of this band, I need them to stick around a little bit more. But then again, sometimes lightning doesn't strike the same place twice, so who knows if they could recreate something like this at some point, or if they would even want to. This song in particular is actually the one that I would say is my least favorite, and I know that might be a little bit surprising, but I aside from lyrically, just like you said, sonically, it wasn't a good closer to this album, especially when you had such a strong open to it. I felt like it was just a very weak finish. Yeah. Of course, I don't know how they would go out. Yeah. I can't really think of a better way to reorder the track listing of this.
I was going back and forth myself on how to reorder it, because I do find myself having issues at some points with the track ordering. There was a point when I kind of go back and forth on like One Thing Left to Try as the last track might be a fit. It's like just a super energetic closeout to the thing.
Yeah, because the thing is, it's really weird to have that song in my mind in between James and Days That Got Away, and then When You're Small and Hand It Over. But at the same time, when you have those 4 tracks like towards the back end of the album, once Days That Got Away came on, I was just kind of worried that the momentum was going to wear down and it was going to get a little boring, and it just started to get a little bit drony between like the way too long instrumentals and then the vocals that I wasn't really crazy about. But I mean, now that you're saying it, One Thing Left to Try probably would have been better at the end.
Yeah, I think you would have to order these slower, more dreamy songs. You have to intersperse them throughout the album in different spots too. You have to reorder it a little bit.
They're still packed so tight together in my mind.
Yeah, it's because it always I get the One Thing Left to Try, and then the last two tracks I always think, do I want to just start that album over, or because I don't really have any attachment to either song of When You're Small or Hand It Over. Again, they're not bad songs. I don't think they're bad. I just don't. They just aren't as good as so many other songs in the album.
See, and then the thing is, for me, if I do listen to it in order, it's almost as if James and Days That Got Away kind of ruined One Thing Left to Try for me, because a lot of the time when I was listening to this album, I was just going from She Works Out Too Much to time spent looking at my phone, and then just kind of starting it over. And then occasionally I would go in and try to listen to the other ones that I wasn't crazy about. And then, of course, One Thing Left to Try. But I was listening to the others, trying to find something that I actually liked about them to make me want to listen to the whole thing throughout from start to finish. Because out of all the times that I've listened to this album, I only did that twice. I did that the first time I listened to it, and then also the last time before we did this. But yeah, I mean, overall, I still can't even really complain about it, because I feel like everything was still so well done. It was just maybe, like we're saying now, just the ordering of the track list could have maybe been changed a little bit.
Yeah, but honestly, that's just minor nitpicks for me. Like, it's...
Yeah, this isn't even really a real criticism coming from me. It's just, it's very rare that, like I said, you get anything that's perfect. So there's going to be a couple things that we have to just kind of throw out there. It's for you. I mean, especially if you haven't listened to it and you want to know what to expect. Yeah,
but all in all, this is one of the best pop albums I've heard in a while. I really fucking like this album. It's been very difficult not to be able to talk about it since because I tweeted out this new album is real good. That's all I said. It's Brittany
spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. I was like,
because I didn't get a chance to listen to it yet.
I was like, oh man, I hope I didn't set our expectations too high. I'd hoped you'd heard it already, but it was
no, and thankfully you didn't. And that's the thing too, is just because you say something is good, I'm not automatically going to assume that's true to my ears. I mean, same thing as me saying, oh, I'm obsessed with the song, doesn't mean that you're going to like it at all,
Yeah, and I think the fun thing about doing these is figuring out what each person's favorite tracks are on the album. Because like, even though we both love the album, we obviously have different things that we like more than other things, and that's fun to talk about. So, three favorite tracks on this album, Brittany. Give me your three favorite ones.
I would definitely say When You Die, Little Dark Age, and Me and Michael.
I would go Little Dark Age, When You Die, and There's One Thing Left to Try. But I mean, to Slamp and me and Michael, also very good songs. So would you recommend this album to anyone, Brittany?
Would I recommend it, like, in general, or who would I be recommending it to? Because I would say yes, and then everybody. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. I love this album. It's the best album I've heard this year so far. Very early in the year, of course, not quite even March yet.
And again, I mean, if you're someone that likes to keep up with current releases and everything, obviously we're going through a little bit of a dry spell right now. So this is a good opportunity to catch up on a couple things you may not normally listen to, which is exactly what we did, and we came out finding a gold album here. So yeah, they really colored that cover art. It works. It works.
It's I'll be very surprised if this is on a year-end list of mine when we get to around the end of the year. It was how much I like it. If it's not, we had a very good year in music, Brittany.
So. I would actually be really surprised if I didn't either, because I feel like I may have touched on this before, but out of all the artists that I really, really love, I feel like the vast majority of them released last year, so it's going to be a little bit of a slow year for me. So I feel like this has a pretty decent chance at being maybe in a top 10. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
We'll see how it goes. But yeah, we love this album, guys. Go listen to it. It's really good. All right, let's move on from the Love Fest to some quick hits, some stuff that maybe me and Brittany have listened to over the last couple weeks. Maybe we both listened to it, maybe not, but we just didn't, both dig into it as much as we did Little Dark Age. I'll start us off here with probably my favorite hip hop album I heard this year, Veteran by Jpegmafia. This is a experimental hip hop album. Jpegmafia is one person. He also goes by Peggy. And he refers to himself as Peggy in his song. He's like, "Damn, Peggy" is like a very common ad lib or addition to the songs, So this was an interesting case of just the more you listen to an album, it's one of those like you hear it the first time and you're like, I don't know if I like this, but I definitely don't hate it, so I need to listen to it again. And it's one of those that the more you listen to it, and the more the weird, because it's like very, like I said, it's experimental. So the production of this is like very out there. But as I listen to it more, like it's kind of come together for me to a point where a lot of it doesn't even sound weird to me anymore. It's just kind of
that's so strange.
Yeah,
because I totally agree with you when you say that this is one of the things where the first time you listen to it, it's not necessarily you love it or hate it. You're just kind of confused by it, and you probably do need more listens to actually, I guess, acclimate yourself to what's happening.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for me, I didn't really have time to delve into the album too many times aside from the one time I listened to it. I could definitely see it having some growing appeal to me if I did have the time to dedicate to just this one artist who I'd never previously heard of before you told me about it. But yeah, I mean, maybe if I have time, I'll definitely go back and revisit it at some point. Because I know that there were 2 or 3 songs that I did kind of feel a little bit from the first try, but I just have to revisit it a little bit.
Yeah, it's abrasive. Like it's very punk rock in a way. And I have a ear for punk rock, for like that dirty punk rock sound. I like it most in a lot of cases. But it's not for everyone. It's very abrasive. So if you listen to this album and if it immediately turns you off, it immediately turns you off. It's experimental for a reason, He's not out here making music for everyone. But I think that, and the thing I appreciate about experimental stuff is that it's someone trying something, and I will take an experimental album that doesn't work over a boring ass generic trap beat any day of the week. Or just
a generic album in general. I feel like at some point, hopefully not anywhere near in the future, we're going to get to where everything just sounds like it's been done before. I feel like there's only so much you could do. So when people are doing this kind of outlandish style thing, just trying to mix things up a little bit, I just automatically respect it just because they're not trying to go with what's popular or what's going to get them on the radio. So that is definitely a large appeal to this album, I think. Yeah.
And when you get past like the abrasive production, like on the second song of the album, which I'm not going to say because the name of the song, but he raps over a beat which is the sound of Old Dirty Bastard, I don't know how to describe the sound. It's a sample from a interlude on one of his albums in the past, and it's just the fact that I still don't know if I like the song, but it's impressive to me that he was able to rap over this and it kind of works. And then there's songs like, but when you get past that kind of stuff and you get to the lyrics, like this guy, his lyrics are aggressive and and they work, but they're like, from the song Baby I'm Bleeding, which has a production. I also don't know if I like the beat on it or not. It's like a constant skip sound in the background. It's so like the skip rewind kind of sound, but lyrically, like there's a verse in here that I'm gonna read this out first really quick. Oh, I'm up in Brownsville, strapped with a Kimber. All you yuppie purses getting swiped like Tinder. Now I'm at the White House looking for your president. Hop out the van pointing guns at your residence. All up in Queens now, showing y'all a body, hoping that you pussy ass crackers try and find me. Chains on my body, looking like a rapper, acting like a slave when I'm gunning for my masters. And I was like, damn. But acting like a slave when I'm gunning for my masters is some cold shit. Oh my god. But and I also think and I don't know if it's just the way the album is structured, but it's if the abrasive stuff is just more front loaded, because I feel like it gets a little more traditional in a sense. It's a weird word. It's not the right word to use, but towards the end, like it becomes a little less strange to the ear. And there's some really good songs. I like the opening track, North Calvert. My favorite track is probably Panic Emoji. But yeah, like the last from Panic Emoji on is just a really solid string of songs. And then like even the names of the songs, this guy does not this guy doesn't really care about anyone. Like he's got like songs here, My Thoughts on NeoGaf Dying, and the hook to that song is him just going, I don't care over and over again in the background. So, and then there's like Libtard Anthem, and he also makes fun of extreme right wing too. So he's making fun of, he's just a guy that's gonna make fun of everyone, whether you're with that or not. That might factor into whether you like it or not either. I mean, he's got a song called "I Cannot Fucking Wait Until Morrissey Dies" also. So.
Oh man. I mean, I feel like he may not be alone in that, but that's a different subject for another day.
So yeah, if you have an ear already for experimental stuff, I'd say try this. It's actually the first time in a while an experimental album has grabbed me and it's something this experimental. I feel like it's a good entry point album in a way to that. Entry is kind of hard. You gotta already have an ear, you gotta have like an ear for some different production to begin with, or a taste for it. But it's not as abrasive as like Clipping, which is another rap group, or Death Grips, which is if you ever listen to a Death Grips song, Brittany, you're gonna know it's. I remember the first time I tried to listen to them, and I've been meaning to go back now that I listened to this and liked it. But the first time I listened to them, it took me like 15 seconds. I was like, nope. It was like, this is not today, Death Grips.
See, but the thing is, and this is just kind of me being so quick to judge music. That happens to me a lot. Before starting doing this podcast, I would just go and listen to an album, and with like, I'm going to say maybe the first 30 seconds to a minute, if I just wasn't feeling it at all, I would just skip it, delete it, and go to the next song. I wouldn't even give it a second chance to listen to the whole thing, which is probably not the way you're supposed to listen to music. It's a habit I'm trying to get out of. No. But yeah, I could totally see how and why you would do that, because I like I said, I'm just kind of a really bad culprit of that.
Yeah, I generally try to give an album at least 2 listens when I listen to it. If I don't get through 2, then I know I definitely did not like the album. But I try to at least give it 2, because I feel like, at least especially in hip hop, that there are so many different layers to hip hop song. Like from the lyrics, of course, and then the production and the flow and the features. And I feel like it's almost impossible to get enough on one listen to appreciate an album. And there are plenty of albums that you're gonna love it the first time you hear it, but it's you're not gonna. If I just say anyone out listening to music, if you hear an album and you aren't sure the first time through, just listen to it again. Like that's my favorite. Some of my favorite moments in music is just like when an album clicks and it gives you a whole new person to listen to, and that's really cool. So
it does, and I feel like that kind of happens to me a lot too, because there's a lot of music that I'll listen to, and like I already said, songs I just won't necessarily be feeling, and I just go and I try to pay attention to the lyrics a little bit more, so I see if maybe that's where I'm missing something, and a lot of the time that's the case. Sometimes it isn't, but yeah, I mean it's definitely something that people need to start doing more. I feel like everyone is so quick to write off an artist just because they're not so hooky, or whatever gets you on the radio these days. I don't know, because I don't listen to the radio, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. I want to keep going, Brittany. I still have a few to talk about. Do you want to talk about one, or do you want me to keep going?
I'll hop in. I mean, obviously I'm not going to get as in depth with these two really short suggestions I have, just because they're shorter anyway. I mean, one is literally one song and one is a 4-song EP. So I'm going to start with Pale Waves, who I've really wanted to mention several times over the past couple podcasts, just because they're, in my mind, kind of a good up-and-coming artist. Until I started listening to him, I wasn't really aware that goth pop was a thing, aside from maybe The Cure, but it's been so long since we've really had something like that.
I think Vampire Weekend's goth pop, aren't they?
I don't know.
It's been a while since I've listened to them.
I've literally never paid attention to those guys.
Yeah.
So again, This is just my own ignorance. This is nothing against any artist in particular. But yeah, until I started listening to them, I wasn't really aware that it was a thing currently. But, accidentally discovering music seems to be my thing recently. So I have to thank YouTube for that, and good old autoplay. Because that's how I found this band. I think I was listening to Wolf Alice one day, and then all of a sudden it just skipped to a music video for Television Romance, which just immediately just like the good old like 80s groove, and then those really fun guitars and everything. I love music that's supposed to be like 80s throwback. So that just got me immediately. So they're doing like something that's so fun and refreshing to me. Just like a good old 80s pop rock kind of vibe. And it's very similar to, I guess, what the 1975 are doing or are trying to do. This is not me hating on them. I do like the 1975, but I think Pale Waves is executing it in a much better way. And a large portion of that is just because of the vocals. Why? Because you can actually understand what the female vocalist is singing. Matt Healy probably could be a really good singer, but he doesn't enunciate anything. He's like one of the worst mumble singers out there. Like he would put some of those rappers out there to shame. And I know that you're probably not aware of this, John, because I don't know if you've even listened to that band before. They have some good songs, but I can't deal with the vocals, and that's why I don't listen to them too much. So if you like female vocalists and you like the style of music that the 1975 are putting out there right now, I think, not to say it's an alternative, but it still would be really good to check out Pale Waves EP that just came out recently called All the Things I Never Said. They've gone with a really, really strange release structure. And I think I mentioned this to you a few weeks ago, John, how they had kind of 3 singles released just out of nowhere. Then the EP was supposed to come out towards the end of the year last year, and then it was delayed for some reason. And then they released all 4 of the songs that were going to be on the EP separately, and then the EP came out. I'm very confused as to why they did that, because you are literally releasing a compilation of songs that everybody has already heard. So I don't know if that's going to hurt sales, hurt streams, whatever. Regardless of what the case is, I still think it's worth listening to. It's only 4 songs, so it's not something that takes up a whole lot of your time. But I like what they're doing, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with a full release in the future. And then I guess I'll just throw this out there because there's not really a whole lot for me to say about it just yet. I came across the information that Bless the Fall's coming out with a new album. Normally not something I would ever really check out, surprisingly enough, even though I absolutely love Bo Boken's wife, as anybody who knows me knows, Lights. I've just never listened to their music before, but for some reason I was like, sure, whatever. I'll see what they have out so far for this. So I listened to the opening track for their upcoming album called Hard Feelings, called Wishful Sinking, and I absolutely freaking love it. So needless to say, I'm really looking forward to this album when it does come out. I'm not sure of the exact release date. I think it's sometime in April, because it seems like that's when everything's coming out right now.
Yeah,
but they're doing like that kind of post hardcore rock almost, but then they're also mixing in some electronic stuff. Okay. Again, please don't murder me if this is the way that their music has always been and I'm just completely unaware of it. If that's the case, I'm going to be very happy when I do take the trip back and listen to their previous releases, because it's something that I absolutely have to do. This is just what I thought of after listening to the opening track of this album. But yeah, I wish I had more time to listen to a whole lot of new stuff that has come out recently. There hasn't really been anything that's caught my eye, though. I'm hoping this weekend I'm going to have to check the releases that are coming out Friday, that I'll have more for next week. If not, maybe I'll just go back and revisit some things that I missed in 2017. I don't see why not.
Yeah, I've been doing that myself, here and there, but that Pale Waves album EP, sounds interesting, especially because we just talked about an album I think is goth pop in a way.
Yeah, see, that was the thing. It's like I wrote down in my notes specifically that this struck me as goth pop and very inspired by The Cure. So I thought it was weird when you said that about MGMT, because I was like, I'm not really seeing that. But at the same time, now that you said it, it does make a little bit of sense.
Yeah, it's like, it's not abrasively goth, but I think there's some goth inspiration in that album, which we don't have to talk about anymore. We just spent a lot of time talking about it. But that's I don't know about listening to some post-hardcore. It's not ever really been my thing. But maybe a little electronic thing might interest me. I don't know. But if that's all you got, I guess I can talk about a couple more albums I listened to. Last week on my birthday, Nipsey Hussle dropped his I can't figure out if it was actually his debut album or like a follow-up album. People were calling it that, but it looked like he had other stuff before this. I think the Slauson 2 came out before this. I don't remember what that was considered. Anyway, it's called Victory Lap, and it is just a really solid West Coast rap album, with just that like nod your head West Coast, the driving down the street beat, just some classic gangster rap inspiration. It's a very solid album. It did not wow me at all. But if you're looking for that kind of sound, I think this is gonna do it for you. And then some. He's got a lot of features on. He's got fucking Puff Daddy on here too, which was funny.
Oh my god.
Kendrick's got a good feature on here. He got CeeLo on there. I think "Grinding on My Life" is probably my favorite song. That's just him. It's definitely the catchiest song. But yeah, it's just a really solid West Coast rap album. I like JPEG's album more just because it pushed the envelope in a way I appreciated. But this, for those of you that just want some like classic rap, I think this is gonna do it. I also listened to SOB RBE's new album Gangin. I was intrigued by them from the Black Panther album because they were featured on the song Paramedic with Kendrick, and I really liked that song. It's one of the best songs in the album, I think, and because they had a lot of aggressive energy in it. And I was like, okay, I like a group, and they're really young, so the aggression really caught me. So I was like, all right, what do you got for me? And the first song, Carpoolin', was given that to me. Like at first, I was like, okay, oh shit, this is what I want, and then it just downhill from there. Just like, and it wasn't like a steep decline. It was just like a slow decline as it went through the album, and just got more generic and like even a little more poppy. Like the aggression went away. It just sounded so generic, and it was really disappointing because it started off so strong in my mind. But yeah, I can't recommend this album, really. It doesn't stand out whatsoever. Couple singles wise, I listened to Frank Ocean dropped a single on Valentine's Day called Moon River, which is a cover of a song Audrey Hepburn sings in the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's. And it is just a sweet Frank Ocean love song. It's not my favorite Frank Ocean song. Some people really like it, and I think it's good. But he just consistently drops good tracks, and it's just another one of them. So if you like Frank Ocean as much as I do, give it a listen. So, and also the song is going to be the outro track, "No Waves" by IDK featuring Denzel Curry, and this song has just been, every time I listen to it, it just gets stuck in my head. Oh my god! And it's the beat's pretty good. It's more like the vocals and just the way that IDK and Denzel Curry flow off of each other really works for me. Also, there's a bit of I get a bit of a Halloween vibe from the production, which I always like. I'm always a fan of that kind of like like that little like a key with like a piano or a key of any kind. It also brought me to go give IDK's album from last year another shot because I listened to it and I just don't remember it grabbing me. And I listened to it again, and I was like, all right, it's pretty good because he's very lyrical and it's a concept album in a way, because but again, it didn't till this morning. I listened to it. I put it on again for whatever reason, and it just clicked. It's just again one of those things that it just like all of a sudden I liked everything. Like there is, and the concept is that he's just writing. It's about his childhood and him growing up and feeling like an outcast, and that leading him, to get involved with the wrong crowd, and then he robs a pizza shop, and he goes to jail. And the end of the album is where he comes to all these realizations. And like there's a song, "No Shoes on the Rug, Leave Him at the Door." I think that's what it's called. But where it's him on the phone and in jail with his mom, and he gets a 10-minute call, and it's just like him realizing, because he felt like the outcast, and he felt like he was never good enough and his mom never thought he was good enough, and it took him getting in jail and his mom being there and just asking how he is and all that stuff for him to realize that all that shit. And then the call cuts out before she can finish saying she loves him, and like 2 songs later it's about his how she passed away, so yeah, it's a very deep introspective album. It has some surprising features. It has like some underground legends, MF Doom and Del the Funky Homo Sapien are on the song Pizza Shop with him, which is, I was like, what the fuck? And how'd you get these guys? And they're pretty good on there. They're not the best I've ever heard of them, especially Doom. But they also has like Chief Keef on another song, and it works. And like Chief Keef dropped one of the best verses I've ever heard him drop in his life. And yeah, it's called I Was Very Bad. And if you want some good lyrical conscious rap, and you want something a little newer, I think that album will do it for you. It will. It'll take you on a ride if you like get invested with the story. But it's very, very good. I don't know why it took so long to click with me, but it finally did.
Yeah, and this is one that you actually had recommended for me to listen to, and I wish that I had time, I guess, to do it before doing this. But I'm gonna see, obviously, if one day this week if I could get into it. Just because the song that we are using as the outro track, I do like that one because I think it was one that you told me to listen to a few days ago, and I did like it, and I liked it again when I listened to it earlier because I had to make sure we had it prepared for this. But yeah, I mean, I find myself still not being as into rap as I could be, maybe.
Sure.
Because again, I still like the stuff that just has like really good beats and is good sonically versus lyrically. Because I feel like a lot of lyrics in rap these days are still just very shallow, and I'm not into it, so I just don't really resonate with that at all. So yeah, I mean, now that you're talking about how it is like a very introspective album, I think it's something that I probably will enjoy more than most.
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy it more because the beginning of the album is him being, that guy you're talking about, like that braggadocious asshole who doesn't care about anyone. And it's just like it adds to the end of the album, I think, is just the progression it takes. And I don't know if you would have given it a chance if you just heard the first few songs and not knowing that. So, but yeah, very good. It came out late October last year, I think October-ish. So if anyone's looking for a good conscious album, I'd recommend I Was Very Bad by IDK. And I'm looking forward to whatever he puts out next. Because this album still feels like he can do better, So, and that's exciting to me. All right. Unless you have any other quick hits, we're going to move on to the last part of our show here.
I wish I did, but I'm just running a little short here this week.
Yeah, it's all right. I think I talked enough. So for the both of us. All right, let's broaden our horizons, Brittany. You want me to go first, or would you like to go first?
I want you to go first because I'm just too damn curious about what you're picking for me this time.
Okay. You wanted something a little more upbeat. That was hard for me because we our definition of upbeat can be different too. So true. I wanted, and I was also but I wanted to give you an album I consider a classic. and I think it's earned its status as that. And I'm gonna go with "The Cool" by Lupe Fiasco.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the more influential rap albums of the last decade. I think it came out in 2007, so not quite, I get a little over a decade. I was also trying to decide whether I wanted to give you his first album or this one. His first album, Food and Liquor, is also very good. I think this is the better album for sure, and I think it's a little. I think it'll be a little more your speed than Food and Liquor was.
I mean, obviously, I'm not too familiar with him. I feel like over the years, at some point, surely I have worked at one of his shows before. But what is that? What is the one song, Kick
Superstar?
Push?
Oh, Kick Push also very.
Yeah,
Kick Push,
I think that may be the only one that I actually know going into this.
That is not on this album. That and Kick Push 2 are on Food and Liquor. This Lupe is an interesting case because I feel like he has never quite lived up to this album, and at least from my opinion, a lot of people's opinions, like he had a lot of label issues and just getting production problems that were holding back his music. But this album,
I mean, sure, because these days he's not even selling out venues that hold 400 people. So I mean, I guess I can see that.
But when this came out, like it was a big deal. Like I know you're gonna recognize the song "Superstar" on there when you hear it. I don't know if you recognize it by the name alone.
Maybe it's possible.
And there's probably a couple others, but there are at least some fun, energetic songs on there that I like that are very catchy too, that I think will work for you. And he's conscious hip hop in a way, but he's not. It's not like there's not layers to it. Like you can get what he's saying right off the bat, kind of like a Vince Staples thing. Like he's not trying to be overly complex with what he's saying to you. It's in it. I mean, that's not an insult whatsoever. It's just that's kind of the best way to explain it. It's very he raps very clearly. So I hope you like it.
I'm looking forward to checking it out because the rap that you have recommended to me so far that I have actually liked, I'm really happy to have something in that genre that I actually enjoy for once. So I can't just say to someone when they ask the stupid question, so what kind of music do you listen to? And I feel like so many people normally just say, everything except for like country and rap,
Yeah, which I trust me as a rap fan, I hear that a lot. So
I feel like that's kind of just the basic thing that I was going with for a while, and I feel like at this point it probably would not be fair for me to say that, unless they were talking about just the popular shit that would play at something like a Drake night. That is not something I'm into.
I don't like Drake either, so
I'm not even talking about Drake. I'm just talking about the kind of music that they play at that type of event.
Yeah, club music, and club music has its place in the club, but it's like
not in my ear holes when I'm not getting paid to be there. So
so I'm trying to pick the right albums here, to give you to wean you into this. There are some albums I can't decide whether I'm ever going to have you listen to or not because, but we'll cross those roads when we get to them. They're still
and I feel like this is actually the hardest part of this podcast is actually assigning music for somebody else to listen to when you're really, really not sure if they're going to like it, especially because you are very tied into your rap and I'm very into, I guess, my pop stuff. It's so difficult for me to pick a genre that I'm into. It's just really hard. So obviously that's the majority of the stuff that comes to mind when I think to recommend things to you. But this is actually not the case with this week.
Okay.
You said you wanted something a little more introspective that's, I guess, a little more intimate, like lyrically. This isn't going to be like the most profound thing you've ever listened to, but it's still one of my favorite albums of all time. And this is a huge debate amongst the fan base of Jimmy Eat World fans.
Okay, Jimmy Eat World.
Yes. So I am recommending that you listen to the album Futures, which in my mind is actually their best album that has come out. Not Bleed American like everybody else seems to think.
All I've ever listened to is Bleed American, so
I mean, it's still a really good album, but
it's a very good album. I like Bleed American. So.
This is just one that since the release, I believe in 2003, it was an album that I ended up getting for Christmas, just kind of on a whim. I don't know why my mom decided to buy this for me, but I'm so fucking glad that she did because it's still an album that I just love from start to finish to this day. It's been very influential to me. So I hope that you enjoy at least some of it, you know. I don't know what your history with Jimmy Eat World is so far.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've only listened to Bleed American. So
yeah, I mean, who doesn't know the song in the middle?
I liked that out. I liked that album when I heard it way back in the day. So I know I've heard them since then here and there, but not a lot of experience. And I'm kind of this is an unexpected pick, and I'm kind of intrigued by it.
Well, you know, when I was because unfortunately I was very ill prepared for this. You asked me about 5 minutes before we started this if I had your homework picked out for you, and I realized I didn't. So we're just scrolling through, and I had something that I've been kind of wanting to recommend for a couple weeks, but as soon as I scrolled past this album, it just clicked to me, and I was like, "This is what I have to do this week." So I'm hoping it turns out well.
Yeah, I'm actually already thinking about what's coming up ahead, so I'm trying to get your ears ready, I guess, for other stuff. So
you're just trying to prepare me for the hellstorm you're going to unleash upon me later on.
Fair
enough.
Yeah, eventually there will be albums that I'm like, she's not going to like this song. She's going to let's do it anyway.
You know what? I'll keep that in mind for you too.
Yeah. So because this one's important to me. But all right, I think that's going to do it for this week. Next week we're going to talk about. I'll talk about futures and she'll talk about the cool. You can follow me at Lucero777 on Twitter. You can follow Brittany at Hell Yes on Twitter. Here on Games and Junk, we have our video game podcast. We have our movie podcast we do occasionally. We have our game clubs, and there's a lot of good content there. I'm on a lot of it. Brittany is starting to get on more of it. So if you like what you hear here, please go check that stuff out. And till then, we will talk to you guys next week. See ya.
What's up, bust down? Nigga, I ain't on what you on. You a fucking fraud. You know that ain't law, not at all. See, I can fuck the wave up. Bitch, that ain't the wave now. I can fuck the wave up. Bitch, that ain't the wave now. I can fuck the wave